How far do you think we'll go in the Big 12 tournament?
I mean, I think Kansas State is beatable. I think Kansas is definitely beatable. I mean, they've won 8 straight.
Yeah, and they beat us by 25 last time.
I think they're the team to beat.
They beat Kansas. I forget by how much, but it was like 20 or 30. It was ridiculous. They just clapped them.
Yeah.
So that's tough to overcome. But I guess we'll kind of see how that goes. But all right, so where do you think we will end up in the Big 12 tournament? Do you think
Seeding wise or like final?
Well, like seeding and final.
Okay, so we'll either be 3. Well, I guess Iowa State too. Well, we'll be somewhere between 3 and 5.
Right.
I mean, if I'm being completely honest, this team, they went on a 6-game win streak earlier this season. They've also lost a couple bad games.
Most of them were at the beginning of the season.
I mean, if I'm being completely honest, I really see this team making it to the championship.
You think so?
I really do.
You think so?
I mean, I feel like this could be one of those runs, and it might be bad for March Madness if they go on this hot run now. But for some reason, I mean, King is back, Mackay is back. I mean, everyone's healthy at this point.
Yeah. That was one thing we forgot to point out was that King came back from his injury. I think he was out for 5 games. He came back in this last game against Kansas State. I think he only played like 19 minutes or something like that, but he was really good in that game. And, it's going to be really nice to have him back, and especially down the stretch of these games when you can get back to – it's not really full strength because we don't have Tristan Clark, we don't have Jake Lindsey, but back to the full strength team that we had when we went on that winning streak.
Right. It's not 6 scholarship players.
Yeah.
2 walk-ons or whatever it was. So.
Yeah. But I definitely think – I'm not sure. I think that their hot streak is going to come in the tournament as opposed to the Big 12 tournament. That's the NCAA tournament.
I would prefer that.
I would prefer that too. And I think that this is just the perfect tournament team just because they're so streaky. And a lot of these players are young players, and they are the Jared Butler types that can take over games late and we've won close games this season, a lot of close games this season against good teams. And I think that, you can kind of ride off of that. I personally think that if you do well, I don't think they'll beat Kansas, but if you at least compete and at least kind of put up, decent performances in the Big 12 tournament, they should be 7 or 8. Mm-hmm. And I would prefer to be 7 because if you're playing just statistics-wise in the tournament, if you're a 7 seed, you are playing the 10 seed, I believe. And then
9.
Or wait, no, 8, 9 plays, and then 7 and 10 play.
Right.
Yeah, so 7 plays 10, and so I would rather play a 10 seed because 8, 9 seeds always are just like back, like it's pretty much 50-50, I think. And 7 and 10, it's way easier for the 7 seed to move on, but it's also more about that second round game because you're not playing the first seed of your bracket because 8, 9 has to play the 1 seed, and a lot of projections have Duke in our bracket, and I don't want to have to play Duke in the second round of the tournament, and Zion will probably be back, and we'd probably lose badly. So Grace and I were talking about that last week.
Here.
What?
We're going to be optimistic.
Yeah, we're going to be optimistic here. If we get to the 7 seed, I really think that you could upset, a team in the second round and get to that third round, and that's where I probably would call it quits and say, all right, the streak's over. But that's my kind of projection of how the season is going out. What do you think is going to happen over these next few weeks?
I would love for this to be the March Madness tournament where all of the Scott Drew can't get past the Sweet 16 conversations are done.
Right, especially with this team that has so many people saying that, not really noticing the fact that we, have 4 of our projected starters are not in our starting lineup right now. And now Scott Drew has turned this situation, or 4 of our projected starters have had injuries, I should say. We've had 2 that were supposed to be our starters, Jake Lindsey and Tristan Clark, that are just gone. And then Mackay and King have been in and out of games with injuries. But just the fact that Scott Drew has turned this program around with that, if they're able to make some noise in the tournament, like you said, with this team.
Sounds like Coach of the Year to me.
And most people would say that he's not. But I think he should at least get consideration, especially in the Big 12.
Absolutely.
But, I mean, we know how this usually goes. He's probably not going to.
He deserves it.
Yeah. Yeah, but, I mean, where do you think that we'll, get past the Sweet 16?
I see Baylor going to the Elite Eight.
Wow.
Honestly.
Wow. Elite Eight.
I know Baylor gets stuck there sometimes. I mean, I don't see us going to a Final Four. I mean, unless they get hot and just wreck some teams. But I mean, we're gonna push through the first round. I think we push through the second round. Sweet 16. I think we sneak by there, and I think it'll get tough in the Elite Eight.
Yeah.
I mean, the team. I'm worried about Duke and Virginia. I'm really worried about Virginia.
They're always not that good in the tournament, though.
Duke's the only team that can beat them. And the thing is, like, they'll go as a 1 seed playing a 16 seed. They might win by 50 points this year.
Wow. Dude, I mean, the thing after last season, Virginia, I can't tell you how many times I've put Virginia in my tournament challenge bracket as, a Final Four team or even going to the championship, and they end up losing in the first or second round.
You're right.
Or third. But they just haven't performed like they have during the season in the tournament. And that could change this year, obviously, because, it's not like the NBA where it's like the same guys going out there screwing up every time and it's the same guys. But when it's different guys in the system, it can definitely change for sure.
Yeah, I think we've gotten past our Georgia State. We lost to Texas Southern and Stephen F. Austin earlier this year. I think we've gotten those games out of the way.
Yeah, and Wichita State too, who's not.
Right.
They were good in the past, but they are not good this year.
We've gotten those are done.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I can't remember. They might be 6th or 9th. I can't remember. Just from my photographic memory, I can't remember what they are. But they're 6th or 9th in like the American Conference, and it's like
it's not good.
Ooh, tough. Yeah, but they haven't had a great season. But so. What seed would you give the Bears, given your projection of how these last few games are going to go?
I would like to say a 7 seed.
A 7.
I mean, yeah. I would like to give them a 6 seed.
Yeah.
I think that we win tonight, and I think we lose to Kansas, but I think we win 3 games or so.
Yeah.
In the
Big 12 tournament,
which will help
huge,
so much.
Huge.
So I want to give us a 6 seed.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I want to get to 7 so
and
badly.
Then people will doubt us.
I feel like we're at 8 right now, and we just need to make that jump to 7.
Yeah.
And that's going to take a lot in these last few games, and really showing that we've come back together after these injury issues between Mackay and King. Because when we were at our best, it was when Mackay was rolling, and when Mackay was shooting well, and he had a better game against Kansas State. He had 11 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists. And the Texas game, he was like 1 for 10 and had like 4 points or something like that. Just struggled throughout the game.
Right.
And I think for me, it's really like we need Mackay to really, especially maybe not necessarily in the tournament. We need Mackay to get going if we want to, put on a show against Kansas or go far in the Big 12 tournament.
If nothing else, just senior leadership.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing is. Stepping in after an injury like that, it's tough to do that. But I'm sure he's a senior guy that's coming in, and he's had a lot of experience beating up on teams like us in the tournament. So we'll see how he does. But yeah, so your projection is Elite 8 and a 7 seed, and I guess mine is a 7 seed and get to the Sweet 16 and lose is my projection.
All right.
That still comes with a lot of upsets from both of us on both sides. So we'll see how that goes, and hopefully, I think either of those results, the program and the school in general would be absolutely super happy with those results for sure. Oh, someone just drove by on a motorcycle.
Oh, goodness.